What drives a mother, the one person meant to protect you, to become your executioner?
They were great little boys. Like, I don't understand how someone, like, just even knowing them could do something like that.
You know, Jaden was the only thing we had left. And you took him from us.
She took poison and fed them to her 4 children. Another evil mom shot her 2 sons to death.
I just don't feel right. I'm not, like, it's been, I don't do this. I love my kids.
In cold blood. And sadly, these were not the only ones. Brace yourself for another harrowing descent into darkness with moms who killed their own kids. Part 5. What kind of mother poisons her own children, then lies down beside them to die too? In December 2018, in the quiet South African town of Clarinet, Zinhle Maditla's world shattered. She returned home to find her 4 children, Menenli, Blessing, Shaniqua, and baby Ethan with their father. The sight triggered a storm of emotions: betrayal, heartbreak, and anger, fueled by her partner's infidelity. But instead of walking away, Zinhle made a devastating decision. She laced their food with rat poison and fed it to her children, ages just 8, 6, 4, and 11 months. The children suffered agonizing deaths. Overwhelmed by guilt and despair, Zinhle lay down beside their lifeless bodies and consumed the poison herself. But she survived. When she awoke, Zinhle didn't run. Instead, she wrapped her children's bodies in blankets and then turned herself into the police, confessing to the unthinkable. The case sent shockwaves through South Africa.
24-year-old mother accused of killing her 4 children is expected to apply for bail in the eMalahleni Magistrates Court today.
In court, Zinhle wept openly, pleading for forgiveness, claiming she was blinded by rage and hopelessness. But the judge described her actions as evil, heinous, and cold-blooded. In August 2019, she was sentenced to 4 life terms in prison, 1 for each child she took away. No amount of tears can undo what she did. The world may ask why, but for her children, there's no second chance. What could possibly drive a mother to shoot her own children and then claim it was voices in her head?
I just don't feel right. I'm not, like, it's been, I don't do this. I love my kids.
On November 8th, 2023 in Shepherdsville, Kentucky, Tiffany Lucas locked herself in a bathroom while her 2 young sons, ages 6 and 9, lay dying from gunshot wounds in the next room. When police arrived, they found the boys side by side in her bed. Both were rushed to the hospital, but neither survived.
A young mother says that she killed her little boys by shooting them to death.
Lucas told investigators she'd heard voices commanding her to do the unthinkable, but as detectives dug deeper, they uncovered a tangled web: financial hardship, failed relationships, and desperate texts to a so-called sugar daddy, begging for money just days before the killings. There had been warning signs, mental health struggles, and even a previous protective order filed against her. In November 2024, Lucas pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder. The courtroom was silent as the judge told her, "You have been selfish." He sentenced her to 2 life terms in prison, 1 for each child. Lucas will be eligible for parole after serving at least 20 years. There were signs. There were struggles.
You know, Jaden was the only thing we had left. And you took him from us.
But in the end, 2 young lives were erased by the one person meant to protect them most, their mother. What kind of mother could murder her toddler, then party like nothing happened? On October 5, 2022, 20-month-old Quentin Simon vanished from his Savannah, Georgia home. His mother, Leilani Simon, spun a web of lies, claiming he'd been kidnapped or wandered off. For weeks, the community searched landfills, fields, and forests, but Quentin's tiny body was already decaying in a trash dump, discarded by the woman who should have protected him. Prosecutors revealed chilling details. Leilani beat Quentin with a blunt object, killing him in a fit of rage. She wrapped his body in a trash bag, dumped him in a neighbor's bin, and later danced at a bar that same night. Security footage showed her laughing, sipping cocktails, while volunteers scoured the streets for her son.
And now to the trial for the Savannah mom accused of killing her own toddler and leaving his body in a dumpster.
The case exploded when police uncovered her Google searches. Can cops trace text messages? And what happens if you kill someone? Her drug use and prior Child Protective Services complaints painted a pattern of neglect. In March 2025, after a grueling trial, a jury took just 2 hours to convict Leilani of malice murder, concealing a death, and false reporting. The judge condemned her unimaginable cruelty.
Life with the possibility of parole. Count 2, felony murder, vacated by operation of law.
Quentin's grandmother, who once defended Leilani, now mourns in silence. His toys still sit in the home where he died. A mother's love twisted into violence, and a little boy who deserved so much more than to become another name in a landfill. Rest in peace, little Quentin Simon.
On the mother, accused of killing one of her children and trying to kill the other.
What drives a mother to turn a family getaway into a nightmare of blood and betrayal? August 2014, Cannon Beach, Oregon. In a quiet seaside resort, a housekeeper opened the door to a chilling scene. 13-year-old Alana Smith, her throat slashed, barely alive. Nearby, her little sister, 2-year-old Isabella, lay lifeless on the hotel bed. The room was eerily calm, except for the horror inside.
Smith is accused of killing 2-year-old Isabella and badly cutting 13-year-old Alana.
Their mother, Jessica Smith, was missing. The search for her triggered a multi-state manhunt. Days later, police found Jessica camping alone in the woods, disoriented but alive. Investigators soon uncovered a tangled web. Jessica was in the midst of a bitter divorce and custody battle. She'd violated court orders to take her daughters on this trip, leaving behind troubling notes and evidence that hinted at premeditation. She later claimed she was protecting her daughters from their father and the world, but authorities saw a pattern of manipulation and control. Autopsy results ruled Isabella's death a homicide, though the exact cause, suspected drowning or asphyxiation, remained unclear.
Ms. Smith, are you able to hear what's happening here in court today?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
Jessica Smith smiled as she answered questions from a Clatsop County judge.
Alana, despite her severe injuries, survived and would later testify about her mother's actions. In August 2016, Jessica Smith entered Alford pleas, meaning she didn't admit guilt, but acknowledged the evidence would likely convict her. The judge sentenced her to life in prison, with no chance of parole for 38 years, calling her actions narcissistic and devastating. December 2022, Dagenham, East London. The house was eerily quiet when police arrived for a welfare check. Inside, they uncovered a tragic scene. 2 young brothers, Marley Thomas, 5, and Elijah Thomas, just 2, wrapped in blankets on a blood-stained bed. Their mother, Kara Alexander, lay beside them, unresponsive. Kara had drowned both boys in the bathtub. In a state later described as florid psychosis, She dressed them in clean pajamas and placed them side by side.
Maybe already having mental health issues, and it's just really sad to see something like this happen because it's tragic for everyone involved, and it's, you know, it kind of breaks your heart.
She had become increasingly isolated, struggling with severe mental health issues worsened by heavy cannabis use. Her mind was consumed by delusions, believing she was protecting her children from a world she thought wanted to harm them. Her perception turned deadly. In April 2025, Kara Alexander was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 30 years. The courtroom was left haunted. 2 innocent boys betrayed by the person they trusted most. Rest in peace, little boys. These women didn't just fail as mothers, they became the very threat their children should have been protected from. No tragedy, no excuse, just pure, calculated cruelty. How does someone cross that line? What turns a nurturer into a murderer? Some questions may never have answers, but the horror they left behind is all too real. Tell us what you think in the comments. Did they get what they deserved? And if you want more stories that expose the darkest sides of humanity, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you for watching.